Okay, cool. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. I'm Thundercloud. My mum calls me James. Washed away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rains. I think I've got electricity. Fried my brain. Yeah. Here we are. Wednesday Words. A smaller audience. Participatory than usual, but still all the same. All the good ones are here. That's the main. Well, there's the other good ones over here too, but they're good as well. Begin by acknowledging country that we stand on land by in Kamilaroi land, and acknowledge the continuing connection to the country of the elders past, present and emerging, and that sovereignty's never been ceded. And that goes out to all First Nations right around this continent now called Australia. On that note, I had a couple of visitors from Tingha this week. More than a couple, probably 3 or 4. Now Tingha's a little town over the hill and far away. Not that far away. It's probably on the way to Inverell, about 60 kilometres. I went over there. They've got this really old, cool museum over there, the Wing Hing Long Museum, which was an old Chinese emporium back in the Tingha tin mining days. So if you're out, and it's sort of like they like it. It's the town that nobody have heard of, but like you should go there. Tingha. It's near Inverell. And anyway, this is by one of the elders over there, Esther Gardiner. It's a book that I got over there, Starry Dreamtime Night, my Aboriginal poems. So, starting with a didgeridoo. A didgeridoo echoes on a starry night as an owl watches from a gum tree so high. The beginnings of the dreamtime dance is drawing nigh, as children are snuggled in the mother's arms, as the twinkling stars shine so bright. The clap sticks begin to tap, echoing in the night as a full moon is rising in the night sky. Dreamtime stories are told with pride of our Aboriginal heritage so old that we will be told to the children who are yet to grow. And when you see a starry night, as the full moon is glowing bright, you will hear an echoing sound of a didgeridoo in Australia, a dreamtime land. Right. Yeah. More dreamtime stuff. Now, I don't want to fall asleep and put you all to sleep during this, but I just learned this mind hack. If you're getting tired and you look up like that, it keeps you alert. And so when you're looking down like that, it actually makes you more sleepy. So when you're feeling sleepy and you're doing that, look up like that, and just by looking up for a while, it helps you stay alert. There you go. You're all now alerts. We need more alerts. Australia, yeah. You alert?
Yeah.
Alright. A Dreamtime song. I'm a dreamer of Dreamtime stories and songs that is a proud part of my Aboriginal heritage. In Australia, beneath the Southern Cross, stories of my Aboriginal culture around campfires where embers burn bright and tapping sticks echoing in the night. I tell of Dreamtime dances and corroborees with pride and memories of the didgeridoo playing on a Dreamtime night. My stories bring pride to an ancient culture that's proud and strong, that children will remember their Dreamtime songs, and that Australia will remember the Aboriginal people's culture with pride, and to walk by our sides. And one day we will hold hands and join as one to be all Australians in an ancient Dreamtime land, and to all sing a Dreamtime song. Next one is a Dreamtime night. A Dreamtime night that burning embers glow dim. The kangaroo bows his head as the wind rustles through the trees. The glowing moonlight begins to fade as the Dreamtime memories were told that day. As silence is heard in the land, but as children awake in the bush camp, Dreamtime stories will be told around the campfires where burning embers glow. So as you see a glowing moonlight night and watch the stars twinkle bright, you will hear the Dreamtime stories blowing in the wind, and remember the Aboriginal people around the campfire where the burning embers burn dim. There's two more from Esther.
Where do you get the book, mate?
In Tingha.
In Tingha?
I got this from the museum over there, the Wing England. A Dreamtime night sky. I look with wonder at a Dreamtime night sky as the twinkling stars shine so bright, as the Dreamtime moon shines on the trees, the didgeridoo echoes on the breeze. The twinkling stars remind me of tapping sticks being played as the Dreamtime twinkling stars brightly shine, as the trees in the wind gently sway. Through the Dreamtime night, though the Dreamtime night will end and Dreamtime sunrise begins, I will remember the Dreamtime night and wait again for the Dreamtime stars to twinkle and shine brightly again.
Very good. Is she a Gamilaroi from Tingha area? Oh, it doesn't have a look later.
What's your name again, please?
Esther Gardiner, born at Tingha, to parents John and Maud Gardiner.
Is she born at Tingha, James?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. She's the youngest of the family. She has three sisters, Lena and Irene, deceased, and Jill. She has two brothers, William and Oral. Attended Tingha Public School, McIntyre High in New York. Attended the University of New England, Armidale. Graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree. Yeah.
Yes, I've been through the school several times.
You should interview her one night. Have some poetry and interview her about the whole frame of her life.
So yeah, there's one more, and then I'm going to invite Doug on up here. My Dreamtime song. A Dreamtime song is heard blowing in the wind as the campfires burning in the coolness of the breeze. The elders are gathering the tribe for the corroboree, where they will be telling of Dreamtime stories. The Aboriginal dancers are painted in ochre white as their shadows are flickering by the campfire. Children are listening to Dreamtime stories of their heritage in Australia so old. And as you hear the wind blowing through the trees on a night of a summer's breeze, you'll hear the Dreamtime songs. As you close your eyes, you'll be taken on a journey back to the Dreamtime. So from over the last 2 years now, we had our second birthday here last week, which was just amazing and awesome, and thank you for everybody who did come and participate. You can see the performances there online. I totally forgot what I was supposed to be talking about then.
We forgive you.
Yeah, I just started rattling on.
Rattling on.
Yeah.
Give us a poem about rattling on.
Rattling on, yeah.
So steam train.
I am, yeah. Anyway, look, I'm going to invite Doug on up here to come on up Yeah. Thank you very much. Oh, no, that's what I was going to rattle on about.
Yeah.
I remember now. Yeah.
Look up.
So the book here I got from over there here in the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. We've got an archive of now, I think close to 300 books that I've called poetry books, mostly Australian but also international, that I've collected over the time. So I wanted to take this opportunity to shout out to everybody here, but also the people on YouTube and Facebook. Hello out there, and say that if you've got poetry books or you find poetry books that you'd like to donate, that they will go into a library here to be kept forever. This is the place where we're taking donations of them. So there was one fella down there, Endersby or something like that at Sydney, who sent like a package of 10 books. The library down there has donated some of their poetry books that have not been used, and other people as well. So that's just a shout out for a bit of help out. Yeah. And now Doug Scott. Come on up.
Thank you. Excuse me. Hurry up, you bloody late I was embarrassed getting up on these things like a pulpit. Anyway, I don't want to preach at you. Hurry up, mate, we're just about to start spewing it out.
I started spewing it out.
I'm waiting for you.
There you go.
Okay. Now we've got the bloody, when I'm at the podium, I'm going to get a couple down. When you got the floor, you take advantage of it. So I'm going to wave something at you. Hang on. Now some of us are involved with railways. Now that's the Tenterfield Flyer in 1989, one of the last trips to Tenterfield. There it is. Now we're trying to do a bit of a flyer, and we're going to have one of these things on it, and we're going to have a clown riding a push bike on the other side. Not political. Anyway, the theme song's going to be, I don't know if anyone YouTube's got a clue about this. We're trying to get the railway going back to Queensland. We're about halfway between Sydney and Queensland. Anyway, trying to get it going again. And the theme song's going to be Willie Nelson, On the Rails Again. Can't wait to get back. Anyway, that's me bit of politics. On the rails again. Yeah. We'll get back into politics a little bit. Now, I've got a good excuse again because my bloody muse is on strike. So I don't do a lot of poetry when my muse is on strike. Now I've got a little bit of a poem which I did real quick. And then I want to read a little bit of Judith Wright. I think last week James was reading a bit of Judith Wright. And it's pretty hard not to have some respect for that lady. And I've got to mention that my mate, dear friend over here, she's related to Judith. You know, so the blood, the DNA, it's all connected. So I better read mine first, so if I upset you, then I can read Judith. So I did this little thing, and the other thing while I'm here, I've got a bit of scientific in me, and I wrote a poem some weeks ago about frogs in the urinal over here, next door.
Yeah, they're always there.
They're not always alive because those bastards, excuse me, the English, they put little round chemical things in. The frogs are, they put these little round chemical things. But anyway, I counted tonight, there's about 8, I don't know if they're dead bodies, there's about 8 frogs living in the
Oh, really? Oh, that's rough.
Do you know what? I want to speak to the council.
Oh,
and
that's
say,
all.
Look, please, you have to put that piece.
Yeah, that's all.
But it's just awesome to me that they live in something we think is a waste product. Anyway, I've done my own research about that. Now, here we go with a little verse. It's called ditty. D-I-T-T-Y. Is that a word?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm penning a ditty, not feeling too shitty. My muse is on strike. She just is not working. Doesn't mean I'm shirking. Did you say a she? My muse is a female. How can a mother guide poetry real? You arrogant man, shaker. You ain't got a clue. This real woman's guidance will shine light for you. See, I'm giving the women a pat on the Settle. Now, you ain't driving the bus. This is me, I'm talking to myself. You're not running the show. This muse that's gone missing is wise, and you know. Help me to settle like a soft, blessed petal and wait with respect till she tells you to go. Amen. All right, now this is Judith. I love this poem. It's a little bit of, Ron said, give you a bit of, I've done a bit of gardening through my years with help from the universe, because I wouldn't be here if I didn't get some help. But I've had a bit to do with wattles or acacia. And when I lived in the States, I used to wander around the bush over there and said, where's the bloody wattles? I said, I miss them. I love wattles. They're tough, they're pioneers, they're Australian. What's that song of John Williamson's about July and the wattles are coming? Beautiful Australian music. Anyway, I'd like to read this fairly short poem of Judith writes. And I'm going to send it to my friends in the States because they don't know what a wattle tree is. Okay. Here she goes. Powerful to me. The tree knows 4 truths. ... Earth, water, air, and the fire of the sun. The tree holds 4 truths in one. Root, limb, leaf unfold, out of the seed, and these rejoice. Till the tree dreams it has a voice. To join 4 truths in one great world of gold. Oh, that I knew that word. I should cry loud, louder than any bird. Oh, let me live forever, I would cry. For that word makes immortal what would wordless die. And perfectly and passionately wells love and time to seed, till tree renews itself and is forever tree. Then upward from the earth and from the water, then inward from the air and the cascading light, poured gold till the tree trembled with its love. Last verse. Now from the world's 4 elements I make my immortality. It shapes within the bud. Yes, now I bud, at last I break into the truth I had no voice to speak, into 1,000,000 images of the sun, my God.
Okay. If you're on Facebook, there's a thing that's called the Dirty 30 Challenge, and it's for the month of April, and the people watching now who are on Facebook and they give you 1 poetry prompt a day for the whole month of April, 30 days. And so I've been doing that, I think, for 3 years now, or maybe 4 even. It's been going for 8 years, so shout out to Abdul, who runs that, Abdul Rahman, and everyone else out there who participates in that. So tonight I'm going to be reading out some of my ones that we're up to day 6, so just one at a time. Now the first night, the prompt was abstinence, day 1, abstinence, because the young fellow that runs the page, he's a Muslim and he's practicing Ramadan. Now, I don't know, I sort of wrote this as a metaphor for, I guess, toxic relationships. Abstinence. I'm staying away from you forever. Your behaviour is unacceptable. I told you that. Now this is the last straw. I can go my own way, you can go your own way. I will no longer inhale your toxic smoke, nor will I sip your poisoned wine, no more spoonfuls of sugar, your bliss point. I reject that blend of sugar, fat and salt. I can't enjoy Coke. I'm not loving it. No needle puncture marks for me. This is a new page, open a new door, the first step on a long journey. Sitting in dark, lonely isolation only strengthens me. Now I'm free from your temptation, toxic attraction, addiction, free. Abstinence. Alright. Now, I mentioned earlier about how we've got building a poetry library here, and one of the books from that library is Henry Kendall's book, A Collected Works, from 1883, and it's a really brittle book, but Bronwyn is going to read that out tonight from there. So I'd like to welcome Bronwyn up.
This is a very delicate book. The pages are very, I wasn't going to come tonight, but I have been wanting to honour Australian poetry more. I've been reading and quoting from Persian poets and British poets, and so this is
English.
What's that?
I hate the word British. English.
Oh, English.
There's no such
I
thing
don't know
as
what's
British.
wrong with British, but English.
English.
This is absolutely Australian, and it's Henry Kendall, and I didn't know anything about him. But Ashley said he was an extremely popular man, well loved, and
But a recluse. But a recluse. Yeah.
and an odd job man, wasn't he?
Yeah, and a school teacher, worked on newspapers. Quite a character, evidently. I knew Rallies back in the 70s, and they used to always talk about him as if he was about to walk through the door.
Well, again, I went to the one-man school, Bakers Creek, and he used to read this poem to us, that age, and all I remember from the poem was kind of the music of the rhythm of the poetry. It's a bit esoteric. But when we used to travel down to Yamba, our family in the car, we used to hear the bellbirds in the forest. You never forget that kind of magic when you're kids. You could hear that clear bellbird voice. So this is called Bellbirds. I don't know the poem well, so I'll do my best. But one thing I want to say is he talks about wattles, his love of wattles, and he says, the maiden of bright yellow tresses, personification. The wattles the wattle tree is the maiden of bright yellow tresses. Anyway, so it's kind of fairly esoteric, but I'll just try to let the music of the poem speak.
I'll jump in, Francis. Thank you. I'll just say the Americans haven't got a clue what a wattle is. They've got millions of trees and millions of acres, but they don't know what a wattle is. Thank you. We've got something which is mind-blowing.
And it wouldn't be hard. It wouldn't be hard to make them plant them. They're so tough, aren't they?
Well, I guess so.
There's lots in southern France, and I presume they came from Australian seed.
Yeah.
There's lots in southern France.
Unless they've travelled on boats or
Yeah,
flotsam or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
So it's called bellbirds. Have you heard the bellbirds in the forest? Yeah. Okay. By channels of coolness, the echoes are calling, and down the dim gorges I hear the creek falling. It lives in the mountain where moss and the sedges touch with their beauty the banks and the ledges. Through breaks of the cedar and sycamore bowers struggles the light that is love to the flowers, and softer than slumber and sweeter than singing, the notes of the bellbirds are running and ringing. The silver-voiced bellbirds, the darlings of daytime, they sing in September their songs of the Maytime. When shadows wax strong and the thunderbolts hurtle, they hide with their fear in the leaves of the myrtle. When rain and the sunbeams shine mingled together, they start up like fairies that follow fair weather. They start, and straightway the hues of their feathers unfolded are the green and the purple, the blue and the golden. And here it is, October, the maiden of bright yellow tresses, loiters for love in these cool wildernesses, loiters knee-deep in the grasses to listen, where dripping rocks gleam and the leafy pools glisten. Then is the time when the water moons splendid break with their gold, and are scattered or blended over the creeks, till the woodlands have warning of songs of the bellbird and the wings of the morning. They're so musical. Welcome as waters unkissed by the summers are the voices of bellbirds to thirsty far-comers. When fiery December sets foot in the forest, and the need of the wayfarer presses the sorest, pent in the ridges forever and ever, the bellbirds direct him to spring and to river. With ring and with ripple, like runnels whose torrents are toned by the pebbles and leaves in the currents. Often I sit looking back to a childhood mixed with the sights and the sounds of the wild wood, longing for power and the sweetness to fashion lyrics with beats like the heartbeats of passion. Songs interwoven of lights and of laughters, borrowed from bellbirds in far forest rafters. So I might keep in the city and alleys the beauty and strength of the deep mountain valleys, charming to slumber the pain of my losses, with glimpses of creeks and a vision of mosses.
Wow.
Bravo.
What a great voice.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you,
Yes.
Bronwyn. You've got a really lovely voice for delivering that.
I was thinking that.
Yeah,
Oh, I was thinking.
Well, you've got a recording of it now. It's very good.
I do, yeah. Although you can also watch me doing that one on
I'd
the
love
YouTube
to.
on
I'd
the
love
YouTube channel. I've got like Bellbirds by Henry Kendall, and I've actually recorded it standing here too. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, but like that's right. So I appreciate like your voice. It's, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it would be great to have some better sound recording equipment here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. I was discussing this earlier with Ashley, I think, about how it'd be great to do some more live podcasting or vidcasting or something like that, and take some oral histories down of stuff. And I do have a a donation link that I'll put up in the YouTube channel on GoFundMe for this place, the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. But I really have to just thank everybody that's here anyway for your support and all of your support that, coming in and, bringing me stuff and buying coffees from me and coming here on these nights and participating. It really is heartening.
Pumping along.
Heartening and pumping along, yeah. This weekend we've got Friday night at Pacific Island with the Vanuatu String Band here. So the local Pacific guys and girls can enjoy themselves and let their hair down a bit. And Saturday, the Fiore Musicale, the Armadale Chamber Choir, with Erin Halliard conducting from the Pinch Opera. So that's really, really exciting. So and that's 3 p.m. Saturday afternoon. It's this hall here has just got amazing acoustics. So we're like 30 plus people in a big arc singing in front of the stage with like violins and cellos and harpsichordies kind of thing in the middle playing as well. And yeah, really exciting. They've been here twice and this will be their 3rd time, and they've already booked for their 4th time in November.
They love your acoustics.
They do.
They tell me.
Yeah. Alright, so big thanks. Saturday's day 2 of the Dirty 30 Challenge was a free write solo Saturday, so I took on the attitude of gratitude. And then the funny thing is, after I wrote this, I pretty much sort of did exactly that. Got on my trike and rode down the street and put up the signs for the market. But anyway, early on Saturday I awoke in the morning way before the sun and thought about dawning. The morning was cold, which made me decide to get on my trike and go for a ride. I mounted my trike and rode down the street. The baker was baking today's bread to eat. The delivery man was dropping the newspaper full of garbage and also political caper. There was frost on the grass denoting the cold. The horizon was changing to black, from black to gold. I kept on riding, and so the story goes. The sky got light and then the sun rose. I thought this is a way a great day will start with a beautiful sunrise and exercise my heart. The clouds glowed gold, the night slipped away. Here I was at the beginning of another gorgeous day. So I set my intention and my daily attitude to practice universal acceptance through gratitude, because there's plenty of water in the rain tank, so I appreciate my life and all that it brings, so I give my life thanks. On that note, I'd like to invite my biggest little patron up, Gladys Wilson, tonight. And also our 2021 Up and Coming Poet Award winner.
There's a book that's in the night because, as we're all aware, the federal election is on the way, coming up. And of course, for our politicians, they have a nightmare. So yeah, that's in next month. So this is the politician's nightmare. Here's to our politicians, minds as sharp as tacks, who are there to reassure us so we can just relax. Fences and gateways now, all around the square, posters of our pollies plastered everywhere. There's movement now in Parliament House as election day draws near, and to our politicians, the nightmare they all fear. We must all cast our vote, you know, and do the naval duty. But as you enter the polling booth, there's a huge stampede, with papers flying everywhere, showing you the way to cast that all-important vote on election day. But there's no need to panic, as we've done this all before, and the shovels will be out in force to scrape the bull dust off the floor. Of course, we must respect our leaders, everyone and all, just to play the waiting game until the final curtain call. One would have to stop and wonder who is wrong or right. Just sit back and watch the coverage on election night.
And I'll imagine you sitting back watching the coverage. I won't watch the coverage, I'll watch you watching it.
It's topical.
Yes, I've got another one coming up on politicians too, and this is probably going to be after, but I'll go get the doctor and check things first, and then I've got another one coming up on politicians, and that'll probably be just probably prior to the election. Yeah, politicians.
I got one coming up. I got one coming up on Gough Whitlam. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, right, mate, good.
Sorry, mate?
Oh, no, that'll be right. You're writing about Brock Whitlam.
Well, a poem, a bloody poem.
Okay.
I was like about 4 or something when he got kicked out. Conflict, I suppose that was the day 3 topic of the Dirty 30 Challenge. Coming up after this one, I've got Ashley on the list. Are you got something for us, Larry and James?
Good on you, mate.
Yeah, okay. All right, so Ashley, Larry, James. I don't know where Steve disappeared to, but anyway. Conflict, this was the topic of the day. Okay. Leaning back in limbo. Dodging arrows, spears and bullets. Slow-mo, Matrix style. Poisoned barbs fly forth, not a scratch or a flesh wound. Dive in under the breaking surf, flow with the undertow, let chaos pass overhead in the silence at the bottom of the ocean. Little fish swim in schools. This is a moment of peace. Conflict within is to identify the fear before it digs its claws in, grows like a parasite. Say no to anger, yes to love, yes to compassion. And the winners of every war are the ones that choose not to participate.
Thank you.
Ashley Albanese.
Well, oh, if you would, thank you. 1, 2 boxes. Well, here I am again, just to coordinate my consciousness, my 3 rulers, hypothesis, implication and perimeter. We'll let them speak for themselves tonight. I have been thinking about my dear friend Dr. Gordon Lang. A very quick story. Sitting in the corner, I looked up that it was 1949 at Coolangatta Airport. Think moment, boys and girls. Dr. Lang used to say to me, he did a doctorate at UNE on education philosophy, and he was a significant figure in the history, particularly of educational development and lack of in the northeast corner of the state, around Ballina. But he used to often tell me that he was standing at Coolangatta Airport in 1949 and a voice spoke to him and said, "Do not hop on that plane." The plane took off without him and had one of the most spectacular and tragic accidents in Australian history. It went up 90 metres and for various reasons, we think, crashed down to the ground, killing all on board. And some of the people on board, to tie in with one of tonight's themes with Gladys, were important political figures. Ministers in the government, I think election was rolling in, and they took off to their death. And Gordon said to me, "If you hear that voice, do not disobey it." He was of Scottish background, and he had his insights, Dr. Lang. They were a family of original settlers on the rivers. Now, as I did last winter, as winter comes again and we get the great Gamilaroi winter full moons now, which were particularly important to the Gamilaroi. I will read each week one poem of Baxter's to salute our neighbours across the briny, and I'll pick it serendipitously. That one's too long, so we won't be serendipitous. We'll pretend. Here's a short one on a Scottish theme. No, too long. Here we are. Trawling poem.
What's it?
It's by James K. Baxter.
What would you call
Trawling.
it? Trawling.
A trawling poem.
Thank you.
And as I've said over a couple of years performing this fellow's writings, he is considered amongst the, as is Judith Wright, he is considered amongst the great writers of the English language in the 20th century, bar none, as she's considered one of the great poets, so is he. And I think they roughly parallel each other in their life chronology. Where birds like spirits over the waters move, broad-breasted mollymawk, cape pigeon, among these brawny trawling men who whet their knives and lug the swollen cod end, I think of my cold love. Woman, wife, sailor's rib, I think no surgeon could divide us. So high you rule, so deep you flail, so wide you make my rudderless horizon. All the sea barns are banging empty, from Castle Rock to turn again. You possess the years below my keel, where the net slides while star and captain sleep. In that grim gulf, no twanging echo sounder can tell me how the contours flow. False bellies, chafing gear help the net to wear, and the stiff warps are trembling now. What will the haul be? Barracuda, sergeants of the underdeep, porcupines like sleepy mares with poison in their spikes, or else fat rainbow cod, and terakihi, the John Dory printed with God's thumb mark. Dry wretch, I can but get no lucky answer. That was written in 1960, and it goes well with young James Warren's poster here, Seashore Medicine Cafe.
Yes.
So, talking of interesting texts that are hardly printed now because we're running out of the trees to print them from. Sad, lumberous thought, isn't it? I was walking past Ross Barnett's marvellous book bin that he has night and day on the sidewalk of Uralla next to his wonderful bookshop, and every time one sees it or walks past it, it's a salute to what could be in our society. The fact it sits there at his doorway, day or night, and you can read or purchase. And for $1, I bought this original edition of a collection of Hugh McRae's poetry. Now, Hugh McRae lived from 1876 to 1958. So he really is a bridge coming from that world of Kendall's into the space age. He talked far too much about the fauns and the spirits, but that's by the by. We couldn't digest anything of Aboriginal reality in that code of our culture, nor could Kendall. You notice he has these sylph-like creatures drifting in the yellow miasma. Well, I thought I'd turn one of his poems. I sat on the pavement at Uralla. I read the whole book because I've always been interested in Mr. McRae. There's an old 1950s style sketch on the cover. You don't get sketches like that on the cover now. The world has changed. So I thought I'd turn this into a song. He wrote it as a ballad, so he called it History. When I were young in Sydney town, I often said to Lanky Bill, them windmill sails go up and down like pirate ships are abaft the hill. I'm sick of being innocent, so let us fly the skull and bones. Show the world us boys was meant for blood and guns and Mary Jones. They were going to have a lot of fun, weren't they? And while we talked, the sun shone fair. and Mary gave us kisses 3. Ah, 3 for old Bill, all planted square across his lips, and 3 for me. We promised her sweet whistling birds, long ivory pipes of wine, boy niggers, dockets, and 2/3 of all the things of Bill's and mine. Then times was good. I didn't know how good they were. Great Nelson's ghost, Mary's a linen draper now, Am Jones up George Street near the post. How many hours I've walked up and down that post office colonnade. Bill took the shilling, don't forget, with Johnson's crowd. He was, they said, the cove was long till been, and that fetched Governor Bligh a dig beneath his bed. So Bill's up top, and I unknown, but still the terror of the sea. Chopped scraps of meat mixed up with bone, and weevils for the captain's tea. When I were young in Sydney town, I often said to Lanky Bill, them windmill sails go up and down like pirate ships above the hill. The last reference to that, kicking Governor Bligh out of bed, if you know New South Wales history, the rum corps, who started our corruption to this point, I am corrupt, started using rum as the currency, and Bligh tried to stop this, so they mutinied on him, and he hid under his bed, and in the ballad, Bill stirs him out of the bed with a big bayonet. So there's a bit of colonial Sydney history. Now I have another song I composed while I was having tea this evening. It's short and it's not sweet, but I had fun writing it. I'll get an instrument and pluck up the notes one day and add a bit of sonic frame to these things. But Paul and I think, love to just step forth with the chanting. This is called As Is. As is, as is, as is, don't get you in a fizz. World is whirling on, a sun will sing along. As is, as is, as is. Sun is in a tiz to say goodbye. A last forever cry. A last, alas, alas. It is, it is, it is. Then I had a stanza I ripped out, but I've got a final one. As is, as is, as is, and some will knot us up, and others yield us wings. As is, as is, as is. So, a final item to offer you, if I can find it. That's why I bring my 3 rulers, because I'm not the most sequential person in the world. I might be palimpsestic, but I'm not particularly sequential. Okay, so I wrote this at Caffeines. It's a trip towards John and Ono and Baz of the Baz. And it involves these 2 little boxes. Because Baz and John and Ono are seated in the mall, and they have these 2 boxes. One green and one red. I will make black do for red. Black will pass as any colour. So, go on, Baz. Well, before Gunner Baz of Baz died, he left some boxes underneath Mum's house. Long story made even longer. In the vicissitude of things. See, oh no. Baz looked very darkly at me. I stuck that word on the fridge after you used it, when, as the fish took my line, sinker and hook in one bite on our last fishing expedition. You turned to me and you said, that is the vicissitude of dings. I put that word up on the fridge, vicissitude. I said things, Bazo, things, not dings. Anyway, Baz went on, Smedley found this archive 3 years back, and after perusement he says to me, Drummer Smedley, often calls me Drummer, These volumes show Gunner Bazo Baz's chemical experiments. Drug taking, I said? No, I mean experiments. He was working in 1916-17 when he was seconded to Archangelsk to fight the Bolsheviks on a top secret guinea pig experimentation program developing a chemical that would put down the enemy. Baz is a guinea pig, can you? No, I can't see that. Well, that's why he was late to the war. He was working on this program at the heads of the harbour, and he went late with the chemicals in boxes to the Russian front with his couple of 100 Aussie heroes. In uniform, but not on official papers. I looked at Baz and I thought, well, that's our heroes. He went to the crusade against the Reds at Archangelsk, Russia 1919. He was late to war. Not really. Well, it's an ongoing experimental stuff. Smedley and Tingha have been working on this up at the University of New England. What do you mean? Basil went on mysteriously. It seems there was bio-research going on. Up and away sort of stuff to the pearly gates and beyond. Now they're trying to figure out what was happening up at the research centre in the sky. You mean UNE? Yes. No birds. They're working on birds. Infected birds. They were doing it in 1919 and they're doing it still. Carrying death and destruction to the enemy. You mean death, don't you, Bazza? Yes, death. Struth, forgive the TH dropping off. I've got problems with pronunciation. Well, you're not doing too bad a job with that one. Tangy especially lit up when she saw Gunner's research papers under the house. And she, working on this project herself with others up at the uni, said to young Smedley, Doctor, you know, oh no, Baz, we can get a discount when we bring the receipt of our bodies towards her for reclamation. What bodies? Well, recertification. We can knock them off with these special chemicals spurting out of the beaks of the birds. All that stuff. No, she's a doctor of genetics, I said. Not a mass murderer. No, not gunnery, Baz. No, the birds will be little module flitty creatures that drone across and drop down chemicals upon the enemies. She's a doctor of genetics and she'll be organising this. Genetics. The net of things, of the spiral. What do you mean? She said, quizzing through, that she's architectonically connected to spirals, so this brings us back without circumlocuting. That's how Tangy talks. The boxes. John and no, I'm minding them. And they're standing there near the cross, next to the ancient courthouse at the Crossways and Beatty Street Mall. They're standing there with these boxes. I'm minding them, and they must not be opened. They're not to be opened. Do you hear that, John and no, not to be opened? Tangy's special makeup ablutions, I thought. The cerulean lipstick in here. The impassioned puff of powder puff. No, not so, no. In these two boxes are Smedley and Tangy's little dronies, miniature drones. The experimentation, when we open up, will go forth and strike down the enemies of freedom and democracy. Yes, multi-plagiarise, multi-lateralise, multi-something or other. There are new miniaturised proboscis drones here. They're not birds, they're mechanical killers, and they fly out from the haunts across the borders of the thug regimes. You're looking very serious about this, Bazza. You look aghast yourself, no. A ghost, I thought, a ghost. Anyway, Smedley calls them the thug regimes. Those making the world a world of unreasonable challenge to our liberal, international-based order of the rules, the roles, the riles. Well, now, Jono, something coming up. When I'm hailed with one only, oh no, I know that something's coming up. These boxes over here, but they sat next to Bazza on a spread of the Australian newspaper. Box number 1. You're the only person besides Tangy and myself and Smedley in the know. I can tell you this, but you have to keep it tight with yourself. Box number 1 contains miniature drone flight proboscises. and if they are to be released from Armadale, Petty Street Mall, they may by chance, Bazza, knock a felonious passerby down. Well, come to that, it's a new industry for the granite tablelands up here, perhaps. Smedley said that. Could get going as a construction program. Much research had produced two types of bioweapons. Box 1 contained the drone mini psychosis proboscis. This entered mosquito-like into the fiend bloodstream, disabling the enemy in seconds. Number 2 will see to death our foe. It contains a techno-electronic thingy-gimminy-jiminy control that will operate down onto the enemy in a flash of lightning bolt veracitude. Which I said, well, I can't follow this, but he said, well, box 1 has a large green dot on its face, a tangy design, because she said red's too aggressive and blue faces the second command module container. So, can we take a peek at these killer cybernetic proboscis? Can we take a peek? They said not to peek. Basil got very irate at this point. Okay, here goes, let's. He opened up the boxes, but they're empty. How's that? Oh, there's a little note in the corner of the box. I began reading, and I saw instantly we were being punished by Tingha and Smedley for our level of consciousness, horizonlessness, and scientific audacity, and simple peeky-boo lustfulness. Baz the Baz, and John no, the note said. This is one of our many experiments. Ha ha. Had you resisted opening our drone proboscis prototype boxes, killer or mere anaesthetising models, we would have made you part of our research network program for the higher development of New England industry. But now, I continued to read, but now you and Baz, turning the empty boxes face down, know the story already. So I wanted to be part of fighting for freedom and democracy, I said. Well, now Tingha and Smedley will cut us out of the loop. Spiral, I said. There is a positive about all this, Baz. And what's that? As John and Ono, in the full depth of my awareness, I stepped back. What's that, Baz? Well, say when we sticky-beaked proboscis like John and Ono into these boxes, into box 1 and 2, a chemicalised killer, say, this chemicalised killer, techno-droned out, coordinated towards a baddie, and struck in Armadale High Country Beatty Street Mall. The DNA, RNA, CBO, ONO of it, driven its puissant load into an innocent Armadale Beatty Street passerby and killed them. Most puissant, Baz, I said, the Baz. Enough of boxes. I shall go with my 3 rulers. Glad to be here again. Hypothesis, implication and parameters.
Well, before I introduce the next person, what colour's chocolate cake?
Black.
No, it's brown, isn't it?
Oh, black, brown.
Right. Yeah, geez, like some of the poets that I've been reading there on the Dirty 30 Challenge are amazing. They're international, but there's also a lot of Australian ones. So shout out to Hamish Danks Brown there, great Australian poet, current. Day 4's prompt was dessert. So you probably all haven't seen it, but the videos where they put Mentos in a bottle of Coke and it explodes. Yeah. Okay, good. Just put it in context for some of the people that haven't seen that.
Do you make a good chocolate cake?
No. Mentos and Coke together goes boom. Right. Death by chocolate cake. He died from eating a chocolate cake. It was the last cake that he'd ever baked. His stomach exploded and couldn't take the sweet temptation of chocolate cake. This is how his strange story begins. He baked a cake with Mentos in. He ate the cake and began to choke and tried to wash it down with a bottle of Coke. The Mentos and Coke together went boom! Exploded all over his dining room. So be careful of the cake that you bake, and you can avoid death by a chocolate cake. A little bit of humorous stuff. Now, who is Mr. Brown? Like this is a dedication to my friend Larry over here. Loves his reggae like me. So Bob Marley lyrics. Who is Mr. Brown? Mr. Brown is a clown who rides through town in a coffin. Where can he be found? In the coffin where there's 3 crows on top and 2 is laughing. Oh, what a confusion. Ooh, yeah. What a botheration. Oh, now. Who is Mr. Brown? I want to know now. You're all in suspense here, aren't you? Yeah. He's nowhere to be found. From Mandeville to Slingerville, coffin running around, upsetting the town. Asking for Mr. Brown from Black Mountain to Armadale, coffin running around, upsetting the town. Come on down, Mr. Brown. That's a big introduction.
Yes. I don't know about that poem.
It's a song.
Good on you. Yeah,
Give us the meaning of life, Larry.
well, all I know is that if someone's as happy as Larry, it's assumed they're reasonably happy. And, it's not easy. I'm doing my best. And I've almost got a couple of poems for tonight.
I thought your name was Terry.
It can be. Officer. Let's see now. Okay, so the reason we have faith is because of the very nature of reason. It comes from human minds, and there's plenty of room for treason. We want to trust our leaders and believe that they don't lie, but they are just people, just like you and I. We have our own agenda, we're just trying to get by. We want to help each other and not just try to survive. But knowing human nature, there's plenty of room for lies. So something much greater than ourselves is required. And faith is freely available and never really expires. It gets around our nature, around our lust for power and control. It's very user-friendly, not a bad way to roll.
Hey.
And
That's rock and roll.
I got this poem called The Unfinished Poem. I nearly got it. And it goes like this. The unfinished poem has never really fully been known. From here across to the city. It's got other lines and some of them rhyme. And isn't it a pity? Now, I'd just like to interrupt at this point and just lay out the basic structure of this poem. It's got the beginning, which I just said. Then there's some filler in the middle, or there could be, and then just the climax at the end. You know, and then that'll lead us, of course, to the last line, which will be, and that's why they call it the unfinished poem.
Yeah.
Logosity.
All right. Happy as
Logosity.
Larry. Yeah. All right. Well, we're making the town laugh anyway, and whoever else out there, I'm certainly still laughing, and on the inside and the outside. All right, got James to come on up in one moment, like togetherness. Abdul Rahman, whatever his name is, off Dirty 30 Challenge, just got married. He's 30, and it was about togetherness. He wanted to write about, you know, what goes in, you know, husband and wife and chocolate and cheese, I don't know, up and down, and yeah, monkeys and bananas. It was like having fun together. I like it. So togetherness. Hanky goes with panky. Also slap and tickle. Dildo goes with bedside drawer. I should have put like a concept warning in here. Yeah. All right. Send your kids to bed now, so you don't have to explain any more to them. Yeah, dildo goes with bedside drawer. Catholic priest goes to confessional with a young person. Politicians go to dinner with corporate lobbyists. Bankers go with arms manufacturers. Governments go with police and armies. Corruption, courts of law. A mug has many sides. Left, right, inside, outside, upside, and looking down. Big media walks hands in hand with big business and big arms and big pharma and big IT and big banking. BlackRock has shares in State Street, and Vanguard, who has shares in State Street and BlackRock, and State Street has shares in BlackRock and Vanguard. Confused? I am.
No,
I'm not.
I'm not.
Fiat currency doesn't go with gold standard. That hasn't for a very long time. And masters always have slaves, and slaves need masters in order to exist as slaves. That's it.
When did you write that?
2 days ago.
Oh, bravo, Brett.
Thanks.
You're Brett for breakfast.
Okay. Well, on that note, I'm going to invite our Wordsworth, our Blake, William Blake. I mean James. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. James Adams, everyone.
Oh, Brett would have loved you.
I forgot
You could have
my
written
notes today, so I'll
that's
just
all
have a few from
Okay.
memory. But I might go back to doing Hardy. This is called Transformations. Portion of this you is a man my grandsire knew. Bosomed here at his feet, this branch may be his wife, a ruddy human life, now turned to a green shoot. These grasses must be made, who often prayed, last century for repose, and the fair girl long ago, whom I often tried to know, may be entering this rose. So they are not underground, but as nerves and veins abound in the growths of upper air, and they feel the sun and rain, and the energy again that made them what they were.
Who wrote that?
Hardy.
Did Thomas Hardy write that? Bugger me.
And then this one, I kind of came across at the same
Wow.
time, actually. It was brought up in a book called Sophie's World about philosophy.
I asked
And this
because
is from
I thought how William Blakeish it
It's a
was.
similar idea.
Gosh.
Then to the moment, could I say, Zingy, now you are so fair. Sorry, let me start this again. Alright, so this one's in two parts. The second part is the devil's reply. Should I do that? So, yeah, fast. Then to the moment, could I say, Ringy, now you are so fair, now records of my earthly day, my flights of eons can impair. For knowledge comes and fills me with such bliss, I take my joy in my highest moment this. And the devil's reply is, a foolish word by gone, how so then gone? Gone to sheer nothing, past with none made one. What matters creative endless toil, will not a snatch oblivion ends the coil. It is by gone, how shall this riddle run, as good as if things never had begun. Yet circle back existence to possess, I'd rather have eternal emptiness. And then this is a poem called Ladakh, about the place up in the Himalayas, in sort of northwest India. And that's one of my favourite ones that kind of doesn't rhyme. It's a bit more recent and I don't remember who wrote it. And we'll see if I get it right. pass, air floods out of it clear blue, an invisible stream, powerful as a sea current. Far down, the valley has foundered, in a depth like the sea bottom. An eagle coasts on the flow, momentary against the grey mountain, and silence flutters. Quick as a mouse's heart in a white prayer flag, set among piled stones, each bears a pious inscription. Om Mani Padme Hum, symbols of transience, of a presence in this remotest of places, of human passage, recognition of the divine and unchanging, a landscape of stone, cloud shadows moulding slopes, distances long as centuries. Ones of my from my blue book, wherever that is, back in the van. Time and space are imposed in place through the lives and reality of the human race. Perception of deception is perceived to be escape from this life and will you be free. Do you go here? Do you go there? How do I find it when I do not know where? All of life's mysteries that have been discovered will crumble and fall when delusions uncovered. With all of the world's mysteries unravelled, can our own sight take the road that's less travelled? See through the eyes of a seer, heaven and hell neither far nor near. All around us, energy light, can our senses conform to insight? And then this one has a bit of a sailing metaphor, sort of at the end. My mum liked it. Seeing to the sky, perceive through the eye. Is it real fraction? Another form of distraction. What is real? In the mind. Can you steal? Thoughts to find. Emotions to feel. Physically can kneel. Thoughts that reel. My mind to heal. To a boat its keel. Guiding direction. Balanced perception. The winds of change can be deceptive, but yet the sail remains receptive.
It's a nice line, isn't it? And yet the sail remains receptive and perhaps perceptive.
Yeah. Look, we're just about out of poets now. So
Sing us a song.
Oh no! I got day 6 of the Dirty 30 challenge, and then I've got another one that I wrote about 3 or 4 days ago. That was just a random one. I think I'll leave the day 6 of the Dirty 30 challenge to last because it's really donated. It's dedicated to all of you and all of you out there. So. Let's start with this one. I got my hat. Okay, now I'm a pixie. Now the idea for this poem came while I was cooking an omelette. Yeah, I know. It was this. It started actually as an angry fairy, but and the reason I chose the name Mal, M-A-L, was because in French, Mal means not good. It means maladjusted, malappropriate, malcontent, etc.
Maladroit.
That's the one. Okay, so any resemblance to anyone in the whole world is purely like coincidental, and it's not aimed at anyone. Right, there was an angry pixie, and his name was Mel. When he got angry, he'd ring his pixie bell, and then bell, ding-a-ling-a-ling. His mental torment was a kind of hell, and he lived in a forest and drank from a well. One day he was drinking, Mel slipped and fell at the bottom of the well. He gave a yell and he cried for help and rang his pixie bell, but no one ever came and looked for Mel. If only he had known it was a wishing well, he could have wished himself out of the hell. A thirsted traveller wanting water from the well, gagged as he approached from the awful smell. Mel, the fallen pixie, was rotting in his well. That's the end of Mel as far as I can tell. Epitaph. Here lies Mel where he fell in the wishing well. He tried to yell, rang his bell as far as we could tell, but he died in the well and became an awful smell. Okay. Alright, yeah, you could. I got a giggle over there. That was the intention. It was terrible end for Mal, but hey, he was content. Alright, okay. So yeah, look, the day 6 of the Dirty 30 challenge was about growth, and back in from '98 to about 2003, Dad and I had a forestry nursery, and you know I remember standing over these tubes and putting one seed in a time for days and days, thinking that one day these will be actually forests. And then 20 years later, driving into Nimbin and seeing a forest that came out of these hands here. And then about a month before I left Nimbin, I was wanting to plant some more eucalyptus trees, and I put this post on Nimbin hookups to ask if anyone had any free forestry seedling trays. Now, and I got one. It actually came out of my nursery from 20 years earlier. It had the same paint on it that we used to put on our forestry. Now this is from the Sunshine Coast in Queensland to Nimbin, so that was like the coincidence, you know. So yeah, delayed gratification is a wonderful thing, and going back and seeing, you know, what all of that really boring stuff, putting, you know, seeds after seeds after seeds, and smoking lots of bongs to get through it and stuff. And then later on, wow, look what it's created, yeah.
You've got a good short story there.
Home for birds and all of that kind of
Good
stuff,
story.
and insects. And, anyway, the challenge for today was growth. Planting a poet tree. Poet trees have good wood. Yeah. Planting seeds of future poets is the goal. Watching the poet trees grow. I ran a forestry nursery 1998, planting one seed at a time. 20 years later I could show you the forests. Seeds need the opportunity for growth in ideal conditions. Seeds need soil plus moisture equals trees. Seeds plus soil plus moisture equals trees. Hence, a forestry nursery results in forests. The earth becomes greener, little birdies have a forest home. Poet trees need opportunity for growth. People plus inspiration plus opportunity to read, write and perform. Hence, the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame results in more poet trees, forests. Hence, the Dirty 30 challenge results in more poetry forests too, and poet trees have good wood. Nuff said. That's my dedication to all you poet trees that are growing away here and out there. And like, it's really exciting to have to know that I'm responsible for encouraging people like Doug and Bronwyn to get up here, and Gladys and James and Larry and Ashley and all the people out there too. One of my friends that I went to school with, Grasby, he's been writing in the Dirty 30 challenge too. So, you know, he's been following me on Facebook for a while as a poet. So he's writing stuff and people, like, it's really great. So thank you. And yeah, good on you all. Yeah.
Bravo!
So yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Good night from the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. In the link under the description in the comments, there'll be the GoFundMe link for donations. Anyone, and if you want the address, just send me to send poetry books and stuff like that. Just ask me in the comments of the videos and that, and I'll give you the address and stuff. So thank you very much. Give it a like, subscribe, and a thumbs up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, thank you.